What's that? No, 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 no. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Crimson Cat has asked me to build a random encounter deck. So this is a sweet card from the Final Fantasy set. So you shuffle, mill 4 cards, and then put each creature card milled this way onto the battlefield. They gain haste, and at the beginning of the next end step, you return them to their owner's hand. It also has flashback, just in case the first time doesn't work. Now, this is probably the sort of card that you shouldn't do in Legacy, but we're all about teaching lessons on this channel for the purpose of entertainment, right? So we'll ignore the part that a 6-mana card that is extremely high variance and could do nothing could possibly not work. And when I initially took this donation, I expected that I was going to play something that looked like this, and I started drafting it up. And as I was about at this stage of the draft, I went to myself, hey, what's the chance that we actually, hit lethal off of random encounter? And I started running the numbers through a hypergeometric calculator, and I was like, oh no, this is not gonna work. We just simply cannot play a deck that only has 9 real bombs in it and expect this to work. And so I went, okay, so I need more interactive creatures in here. I need Fury in here. I probably need some Pyrogoyphs in here. And then it hit me, what if we use not the mono red sneak attack base, which is historically just fully power crept out of Legacy, but what if we used the red Stompy base instead? And I'm going to move some stuff around here real quick, but that got me to this point. And there's going to be a couple of utter weirdos in this deck, but I swear they're going to make sense in a second. So this deck has 24 creatures in it, and I am going to be running a different MDFC land than normal. I am going to run Pinnacle Monk. Now, is this card all that exciting? No, certainly it is not. However, it is an ETB creature, technically speaking, that could return something like a Shatterskull Smashing or a sideboard card, but more importantly, it is something that I can throw with Broadside. So if I random encounter into a Pinnacle Monk and a Broadside, that Broadside can attack for 2, this can attack for 2, 4 damage, and then Broadside can throw Pinnacle Monk for 7, those 2 cards would be representing 11 damage on their own. And so rather than trying to random encounter into something Emrakul sized, what if we just make it so that we hit a couple of reasonable sized bodies, and this becomes the endgame burn spell that we intend to finish off players with. And if it's not good, no big deal, we can throw it under a Chrome Mox for a little while. And we get powerful bridge cards to the late game with the One Ring and Pyrogoyph. Furies can be sort of our early game removal versus things like Tamiyo that otherwise might be annoying. We are certainly still going to have the same weaknesses that this deck normally has, in that Barogoyphs and friends are going to be very, very good against what we're doing since they dodge all of the various red removal that we can be doing. We can technically gaunt it back to hand, but unless we finish that exact turn, it is still problematic. Now, this deck normally prefers Blood Moon to Magus of the Moon, but every time that we can turn something into a creature, we probably want to do so in respect of random encounter. And hence, I am going to even go so far as to play Fairy Macabre over the traditional Leyline of the Void that I have been playing, as, we can hit it, bash in for 2 with a Fairy Macabre, and then have it in hand for our Reanimator opponents. So are we getting cute today? Yes, absolutely. Will we hopefully still put some wins on the board? I hope so. And I hope we have a couple of crazy random encounter screenshots that'll make it all worthwhile. That's a good selection of creatures on here, by the way, just for the Final Fantasy fans. They nailed the random encounter art here. I love this. With that, let's go ahead and jump directly into the leagues here. Should you need any Final Fantasy cards or any other cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order, and you always get free shipping. And I don't know if you have ordered from other online retailers, but sometimes their prices look real good until all of a sudden there's $20 worth of shipping in your cart. That does not happen here. All right, let's battle. Hello, Phil from the future here. My recommended round for this video is round 4. It's versus a really cool deck that I don't think I'm going to spoil exactly what it is. Enjoy the show. Alright, I just played against this opponent a few minutes ago. I don't remember what they were playing, and they could have changed decks. But I've got a decent amount of mana here. I can potentially cheese a game with a Magus of the Moon. I am relatively resilient to some sort of Thoughtseize effect. This is the Doomsday player? It's either Doomsday or the Storm player from last league. I think they need to take a Chrome Mox, otherwise I get to Magus of the Moon on turn 1. Chrome Mox, imprint a Goyf, Chrome Mox, imprint a Goyf. We're going to keep both Magus of the Moons here in case one gets dazed or whatever. Force of Will pitching Personal Tutor. This was the Doomsday opponent. So I now get to just jam Magus of the Moon again and make my opponent have an answer to it. That is not a basic land. That is also not a shuffle. Edge of Autumn goes away. I mean, with my opponent having 2 basic lands here, I'm just going to shove. It is a daze. So now I think I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn. And my Chalice of the Void might be going on 2 for the Thassa's Oracle directly after a Doomsday, if my opponent can Dark Ritual Doomsday here. There's a Petal. They pass. It's a little awkward to do Chalice now, because Cavern of Souls can exist in my opponent's deck, and then the Chalice doesn't actually do anything. I guess I'm going to shut off cantrips then, and I will succeed at doing that. My opponent, again, could just Doomsday immediately here, and then it's awkward. And this is just fully going to be how good are my top decks from here, because I could hit another Magus of the Moon and knock my opponent off of relevant mana sources. We can see they're going for Edge of Autumn for one of their things. That's not overly surprising. All right, no consider baseline. Chalice is obviously out here, so that doesn't make sense. This could be more damage. I'm going to throw it out there. You know, it is the play that I have available to me. I will send this at face, but I imagine that my opponent just wins the game this turn. It is, admittedly, I would have gotten paid out for holding Chalice to do it on 2. But I don't know that it was correct to do that. Okay, so we want things that interact in the early game. Stuff that looks like this will be fine. Fury is less good here. It's just something that I can throw at my opponent's face, but I have other things that fall into that category. I think Fury is going to be the first thing that goes. I don't think I want to cut any creatures from there. Otherwise, random encounter starts to be sus, and I would like to random encounter a few times. It is potentially correct to like turn random encounter into Fiery Confluence, but I would like to do the thing. I mean, this is aggressive. This is turn 1 broadside. It's not actually turn 2 Goyf follow-up, though. I don't think I like this one more than something like a Trinisphere opener. Sure. Just going back here. One of the 4 drops. I think it actually might be the One Ring. I think Pyrogoyf going to face is just potentially better. I wish I had a little bit more mana in this opener. I don't think I am willing to go to 5 to fish for a better hand. Underground Sea. Oh, we're just going now. Into a Doomsday. I think if my opponent has a counterspell in their hand right now, they just win the game. Alright, my opponent has sealed their fate. I mean, I am going to do the thing that potentially keeps me alive for another turn. It has resolved. Now, this means my next spell will also resolve. I think I broadside, but I don't fling the Trinisphere. I can't play Chrome Mox to fling it because of Trinisphere. So there's land drop 3. Opponent will fetch to 6, so if I throw the Trinisphere, they are still alive here. And they just have the Oracle. That is unfortunate. We did not need much more time. Literally needed 1 more turn. But we just came up on the wrong side of the variance there. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Okay. Opening hand is mid. I think I can do better than this. This is certainly better. By a lot. This is turn 1 Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Probably imprinting Fury. Turn 2 the One Ring. I'm not all that far away from random encounter, but it's just not correct to mess around with it until I'm stable. And I think I need this land. I would be very happy with this card if this was a 7-card hand, but it's a 6. Okay, our opponent tanked, but ultimately did end up keeping their hand. Fury goes under, and we're going to get our mana going. I just need this treasure token here. Not immediately, but long-term with the One Ring, it's quite necessary. An honest-to-goodness forest. Where's my random encounter now? It would be so good. I think looting Chalice, because Chalice on 1 doesn't stop Cabal Therapy flashback from sacrificing the Veteran Explorer. I think just Chalice, though, because I'm happy making the land drop. Now, am I a coward? Of course I'm not a coward. I think with the One Ring in hand, this is just fine to do. I get to, like, in theory, play a 3-drop after this. I have 4 basic mountains in deck. Basic lands are good. It's a little weird whether or not I take damage off this Ancient Tomb right now to cast this. Yeah, that's fine. Like, we've got Furies and Shatterskull Smashings and shit. Yeah. Broadside is cool. Am I fine playing that now? Letting my opponent know it's there? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to kind of awkwardly do this and take out that card. A lot of self-damage here. Hopefully that doesn't matter too much. I got 2 mountains from the Veteran Explorer, finishing that thought, so the Ancient Tomb is less likely to damage me in the future. New Veteran Explorer. That's the sack a creature for mana, right? Yeah. I will get 2 more basic lands. Now, any Veteran Explorers past the second one are free rolls for my opponent. And what's the other one? Sack a desert to make a copy of something. An Elvish Reclaimer. And some big play, probably a Green Sun for like a Grist. Green Sun? It was indeed for Grist. Is that a spider? Skyfisher Spider. Reach. You can sacrifice another creature. When you do, destroy target non-land permanent. When it dies, you gain a life for each creature card in your graveyard. Okay. So I get Fable. I draw some cards. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 mana. Making copies of Furies in a minute is going to be gross. So there's Fury. I think we're just going to go ahead and kill 2 creatures here. Play out a Broadside. I think I will go ahead and attack my opponent's face directly. And throw something at Grist to finish Grist off. These are both insane in different ways. I think I'm just going to throw the Fury, despite the fact that Reflection of Kiki-Jiki Fury is great. Reflection of Kiki-Jiki Broadside is good enough. Opponent attacks with an insect token. I am not going to block. This could be Fatal Push, so I'm just not going to enable that here. I'll take the 1. And if my opponent plays some sort of Pernicious Deed thing that like wipes everything and I take 1 extra damage, that is hopefully not the end of the world with this much card draw here. Yeah, it's big, whatever it is. It's Bowmasters. So opponent wanted to Bowmaster King to finish off Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. Sure. Totally reasonable. Oh, so this copy is a 4/4. So I do need to fling a decent sized thing at it. Probably just the ring. So let's go Reflection, target Broadside, go to combat, send in with both, activate the One Ring, hold priority. We will use the real Broadside to throw the One Ring at that Bowmaster. And then I think I'm fine letting my opponent go to blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for random encounter already. Yeah, then I will just throw this Chrome Mox. Opponent's at 16, and then we will do the fun thing. 1, 2. Yeah, I'm just treating this like a draw spell here. Oh, shit. Pyroglyph. Treating it like a burn spell, apparently. 5 to face. That will be in the graveyard for the future. I have used all my broadsides. Thinking about whether or not I need 2 Chalice on 1. I don't think I do. So these creatures bounce back to my hand. I'll redeploy them next turn. The Pyroglyph plus Reflection of Kiki-Jiki plus Broadside is just disgusting, honestly. Once upon a time, So random encounter there was 6 mana, deal 5 to face, draw 2 cards. Not the worst. Magus of the Moon does not seem impressive here. I'm going to pull all of those from my deck, and any sort of red removal that I can get into the deck will be good. I'm not the biggest Chalice of the Void fan here, even though my opponent has 1-drops in their deck. I am considering whether or not Magus of the Moon being red for Fury and Chromax is better than Chalice. I think I am fine playing a non-4 number of Chalice of the Void, even though that's a pretty weird thing to do. When I am on the play, I can consider that 4th. Yeah, so like that being something that goes under Chromax here would be perfectly fine. I'm going to keep this hand. The One Ring is absurd here if my opponent is giving me extra mana. I really wish this was Magus of the Moon in this specific hand. Opponent finds a Boseiju and fetches. That'll be a Dryad Arbor. And I can move on my merry way. Simeon Spirit Guide. Well, that's real good. That just means I get to play the One Ring on turn 1, or Pyroglyph even, which might be better. Yes. I think I'm just going to take this as a removal spell on Dryad Arbor, have a 3/4 in play. I get the One Ring next turn. Nurturing Peatland. It's a 1/2 and a more other 1/2. Yeah, you've got it. I am into that. Because this turns my Chalice of the Void into a useful card. I'll just send in Broadside, target a Reclaimer, throw the Chalice of the Void that I otherwise wasn't going to use, hit in for 6 damage, save 3 life on not using that as a damaging land. And next turn I can be looking at pretty damn close to lethal, right? So this is 6 on board, throwing One Ring is 6 more. And opponent has a Pain land in play too. Oops, all Elvish Reclaimers. These are 3/4s though. Yeah. One Ring. Bowmasters exists. This turn's awkward. I think I am just going to do that. Alright, so we're going with a block. And then opponent's going to rotate. Playing around these becoming 3/4s and Bowmasters at the same time was a little weird there. Oh, just good enough for the opponent. The game wasn't literally over there. The fog from the One Ring plus the cards that I would have drawn probably would have been very strong. But the game would have gone on for, I think, 2 more turns. So this hand is just fully does Magus of the Moon on the draw solo the game, which I don't think I am into. This is fine. This is going to play like Broadside into Broadside. I'm going to keep the random encounter because it's fun. It may end up going under this Chromox. We'll kind of see. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith. Oh, we're going now. Second Grim Monolith bridges my opponent to 4 mana. Karn's a disaster. Fuck. And opponent tutors or coding. My deck fucking bailed me out so goddamn hard there. Holy shit. So, Broadside. Go to combat. Attack Karn for 2. Karn goes to 1 loyalty. Play Chrome Mox. No imprint. Broadside. Throw Chrome Mox at Karn. And now I get to play a second Broadside next turn after my opponent has expended 2 copies of Grim Monolith to power out a Karn. No exaggeration, that Spirit Guide was the best draw in my deck there. You've got your coding. I have not quite enough mana for random encounter. A Spirit Guide next turn would be cool. Like almost certainly would just produce lethal on the spot. So I can attack for 4. But the Broadsides can't throw each other, because after I would throw the first one, the second one wouldn't be there to activate the ability. I think I am just good with this as it stands. Opponent has an Ancient Tomb as one of their mana sources, which is pretty good for me. And the Urza Saga Construct token is not blocking the Broadsides in the short term. Ancient Tomb plus that is 4 for a Karn. Opponent could destroy one of my lands, but they can just use coding as Rishadan and that'll stop me from random encountering. I have 9 damage showing, unless my opponent has a Pithing Needle effect. Ensnaring Bridge. Sure. So my opponent in upkeep should Liquid Metal Coating my land. Oh, they're going to do it on a Broadside. Sure. So 4 from attack. Fury pitching random encounter is lethal. Yep. Attack face. Fury pitching random encounter. This is even better because I do incidentally also get to kill the Karn, which turns on the second broadside as well. So that worked out very, very well in our favor. No exaggeration, that luck sack draw of Simian Spirit Guide on turn 1 won us the game. Unquestionably. Unquestionably. I am into extra Blood Moon effects here. Fiery Confluence can do some work. I'll think about Trinisphere. I don't really know that I'm into it. Chalice of the Void is kind of weird. It can do some interesting things, but most of the damage will be done by the time this hits play, because my opponent is on the play. You can use Chalice on 1 to stop like Voltaic Keys and Manifold Keys from hitting play, and sometimes things like Expedition Maps as well. I think I am going to say that this is fine. This is turn 1 Magus of the Moon. I'm in. Opponent down to 5, and keeps on 5. I think Random Encounter is going under my Chrome Mox this time. It takes a few turns for Random Encounter to become good. Okay, now I don't feel bad about doing it at all. Now I've just still got one. My opponent could dismember this Magus of the Moon. Like, that is a very reasonable sideboard card that they could have for dealing with this specific card. We did deny 4 mana on turn 2. That's great for us. This is also... I was about to say this is also good, but there's actually literal 0 cards in Graveyard right now. We'll address that in a second. I think it was also potentially correct to play Shatterskull Smashing instead of Mountain there. In case that saves me 3 life in the future if Magus of the Moon goes away in the current turn cycle. The next turn I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it takes 2 turns for me to get to Random Encounter. There's 4 mana for Mystic Forge, and we'll just kind of see how much my opponent rattles off with it. Not very much. I'm definitely looting. I'll keep the Random Encounter for you all. I think it's correct to loot it away, but I'm going to keep it for you all because it's cool. I think I am just going to play Blood Moon here as a safety net and attack for 4. Then if Magus gets dismembered, my opponent doesn't unlock just an absolutely massive amount of damage. And I just have lethal next turn with Fury pitching Random Encounter and Broadside. Ooh, now I don't. Sure. So this transforms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm going to keep my burst damage hidden and crash in like this. The moon attack was unnecessary, but I do want the treasure token. Opponent goes up a couple cards. They've got Mystic Forge. Their lands are very much locked down, but they could maybe do some cool stuff with like a Karn and do an Ensnaring Bridge. Oh shit, Paradox Engine. Well, that's bad. Paradox Engine plus the One Ring probably kills me here, as my opponent gets increasing numbers of One Ring draws. I'm going to give you the Spark Notes at this point, because my opponent's going to cast a lot of spells. So my opponent now has Glaring Fleshraker, One Ring. I think I am probably dead to that. I don't have an instant speed removal here, unfortunately. The opponent now has a Kozilek's Command for a very large number. My opponent gets 9 spawns. That's 9 damage directly to my face. Not great. So one more spell like that, and I die. And opponent's got 19 cards in hand, so, you know. Yeah, and that's another one for X equals 8. That'll do. So now hopefully we get our opponent in game 3 here. That one was looking good, but didn't quite finish well. Do I want Dead Gone? I do. And this is objectively the correct thing to cut. I'm just gonna do it. It's fine. I don't know that it's good, but it's fine. I think I'll take that much. So the reason why I'm not in love with this one is that Magus of the Moon is going to deny me a mana, meaning that I don't curve Magus directly into the One Ring. Do I want to One Ring this turn instead? I don't think so. I think I will just play Magus. And I'm not going to play out Chrome Mox immediately and do nothing with it, since my opponent is a Karn the Great Creator deck, and they could just like plus and get rid of a Chrome Mox. That is a Dismember. You've got it. So opponent now has 4 mana for their gross stuff. That's a key to untap the Monolith. And that's 4 mana with a few extra chilling. There's Karn. Tutoring. Opponent can get Coding and use it as Rishadan Port on Ancient Tomb. And that's very good. Oh no, they are going for my red source instead. So this is not actually mana, unfortunately. I'm just unfortunately playing a tapped land and passing the turn. Now opponent can start going to town on my lands, while hopefully also advancing their other game plan. So they're just going to untap the coding to Rashad and port me again. One Ring doesn't get to draw me out of this. I just need to keep playing mana sources in hopes of my opponent pivoting here, and then I get to random encounter and kill Karn. Unfortunately, like, I am just stuck in this cycle. I need to draw another Spirit Guide, I think. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. It is a Chrome Mox that does not accomplish the same thing. I guess I'll play it. Alright, Spirit Guide. Please be the top card of my deck. That's bad. Okay, opponent is going with the One Ring. Drawing a card. Untapping Monolith. I mean, I am very live to just draw a Spirit Guide. A Broadside? That doesn't get me anywhere. And it costs me a Spirit Guide. Like, I can play it, play Chrome Mox, throw Chrome Mox at Karn, hit Karn down for a lot. I think I am just trying to draw Simian Spirit Guide or Red Source, and my opponent doesn't blow up my shit. I'm gonna get protection from everything and pass the turn. If this One Ring sticks in play, I can maybe then play Broadside off Spirit Guide next turn and throw One Ring at Karn. And that's at least something. Flaring Fleshraker, obviously bad. Just, I'm not taking damage right now. But the blockers are relevant. Monolith. Mystic Forge clears the top. Yikes. That makes it harder for me to steal this game with Broadside, throw Ring at face. Candelabra. An opponent has plenty of mana using Manifold Key. And more other Manifold Keys. Oh, wait. Oh, no. They're going to have spawn mana. That's fine. I'm going to fast forward to end of turn here, I think. Opponent has 7 mana and is tutoring with Karn. That's going to be the loudest for game over, unfortunately. I will concede there. We were live for a lot of that game, despite how bad things were. But I was very far away from the mana that I needed to get random encounter. GG's. We have been paired against a Yorion deck of some kind. My hand is not particularly good, but Fable of the Mirrorbreaker is going to let me loot. I will have some decisions to make if my opponent is actually a blue deck and not just a Death and Taxes variant. And we don't know for sure yet, like, this could just be fetching a basic Plains. But I think I am willing to take the time to cast Chalice of the Void here. Imprint, smashing, and go for this. Good enough for a fetch in response. And it is a blue deck. Daze. No. Alright, we're in play. And we'll see how much this Chalice of the Void ends up doing. I really need to loot through these Spirit Guides, turn them into Pyroglyphs, the One Rings. Honestly, I would be fine with random encounter at this stage of the game. Like, it fully will be castable. Island comes back down. Yeah. Are you gonna Bowmaster me? You're gonna Bowmaster me. Okay, so now is this gonna go here? It is. Alright, I'll keep my cards then. So I will play Broadside, go to combat, send in with both of these. I get to make a treasure token. I will throw that treasure token directly at Bowmasters. And if my opponent wants to trade Goblin Shaman for Orc, I think that's fine, given that I have Fable coming. And it might not look like it, but these are just lava axes. I will just fully cast those with the intention of flinging them with Broadside. Another Prismatic Vista. It's kind of weird to me that my opponent is doing that. Specific land. Sholdred's Edict. Okay. Now these aren't lava axes anymore. Yuri. I'm just going to cast one of these and then save this to use as a spell. Like, I think there is a decent chance that my opponent plays a creature or planeswalker that I want to remove in this turn cycle. We've got the fetch. We are at least Esper in colors. Clarion Conqueror. Yes, that sets me back. Though the Chrome Mox here is actually a little devastating. Oh well. Fury, Pitching Spirit Guide, Evoke on bottom, 4 damage to Clarion Conqueror. Now, that is going to leave play, turning on Reflection of Kiki Jiki's ability, and we're just going to do this for 6 haste damage here. Now, the original one of these gets evoked, and I'm going to hit for 8. Yeah. And while I would love to have a Fury that's still in play, this seems fine. Opponent is at 7, facing down 4 damage per turn cycle. We got the yoinks from the opponent in chat. Yoinks indeed. I don't remember this. Draw 2, discard a card. When a dragon enters, you can bounce it. Yeah. Okay. I think I've played against this player on this deck before. And then a 1-drop gets discarded, and another 1-drop goes to bin. If you need the instant in the graveyard for Murktide, that makes sense. I will just hold that. Send in for 4. Opponent is at 3. Facing down theoretical lethal, but probably not actualized lethal. I think this game goes on. So there's the Murktide Regent, which is going to trigger the Roiling Dragon Storm. Mystic Sanctuary. Targeting Ponder, I assume not putting it back on top. Yeah. The second Murktide? It is. Well, that's slightly scary. Magus of the Moon. I think I am into that. So let's play that. I think this is a land. I'm going to pass the turn for now, and at my opponent's end step, I can make a copy of one of my creatures to attack with more bodies next turn. So there's the Dragon Storm again. Opponent discards a Swords, which is offline due to Chalice. Hit a basic Swamp, which is very lucky. Oh, they're thinking about it. This is a scary position for them. Alright, they're going to hit me for 8. This is theoretical lethal next turn. They're going to need something else to make it through the turn cycle, though. Bowmasters is very good here. They have 4 bodies that are attacking, and any 2 are lethal. Oh, that is so tragic as a draw. I'm a mana short of it, and Chrome Mox doesn't pitch to it here. I can potentially do it post-combat if Magus of the Moon dies. I can't do it plus copy it to kill an 8/8 Murktide. Okay, I mean, I guess I'm going in. Show me Bowmasters. Yup. So now it matters which creature my opponent blocks with Murktide Regent. I need them to kill Magus of the Moon. Let's fucking go! Alright, cool. So my opponent goes to 1. My mana opens back up. I cast Fury, and I get to finish off this Murktide Regent. Now, my opponent does not have lethal on board anymore. Opponent has 1 card remaining. It is much closer than I expected after Chalice and Magus both successfully sticking. Ponder gets countered. It's another Murktide Regent. Insane. So they get to do the Dragon Storm again. And just about any live draw will do it for me. I just need to present 1 point of damage or play a Fog. And I draw land. Damn, that is disappointing. Alright, we're gonna do a bluff. Oh no, I can't even start paying the cost of this. So 0. I guess we'll do a bluff like this. There's no way that my opponent doesn't swing with both of these, though. Yeah, no thoughts. That's super disappointing. GG. Opponent says hello from Singapore. Wants me to shout out a local there, Chester Double Bolt Ting. Hello, Chester, and everyone else in the Singapore legacy scene. Opponent's deck is sweet. I think my deck is perfectly fine against my opponent's deck. We bottomed out a little there. My opponent was lucky. They hit basic lands. They hit Murktides 3. I don't mind this. It looks like my opponent plays pretty well through Chalice. I think I'm just going to get rid of Chalice. Chronosphere is okay. Fiery Confluence at face is okay. I think I'm going to call this good. Needed a little end game there. Okay, I have an okay opening hand. I have 3 mana, turn 1. This is just like fine. That's all it is fine. I'm going to try keeping this. I think that this card wins me the game if it resolves in this matchup. I think I'm going to keep mana here and just start by being aggressive. It's just worth, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 damage before it gets answered in all likelihood. Vista. Fetching for a basic. That's cool. That's not a Hydroblast, so Broadside gets some respectable amount of damage in, and if we're a luck sack, we'll draw the One Ring this turn, which would be pretty cool. Ponder does not shuffle. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You first, I think. I'm going to play Pyrogoyf, 2 at face, go to Punchies, 2 at face. I don't think I just throw for 6 here, but it is tempting. Basic Swamp, and now an Edict. I'll junk the Goyf. Ooh. I mean, yeah. Obviously fine with playing that. Send in for 4. Opponent is at 9. I'm going to play this as a land. I can send 7 at face immediately. I don't think I'm going to do that. That puts me further away from random encounter. If it stopped my opponent from fetching, I think it'd be a different story. But right now, any of my mana sources are random encounter. This means that most of the cards in my deck are good draws if I keep random encounter in hand and Chrome Mox in play. Alright, we're chilling. Tentacle Monk is just lethal. But that's not what you are here for, is it? Not what you're here for. You want me to cast this card? Force of Negation, which would not have affected Pinnacle Monk, by the way. Petty Theft. Send in with Broadside. Opponent goes to 7. Now I think we're just going aggressive. They still just have the ability to cast a Broadside next turn. Opponent's got a Brainstorm. They only technically need to answer 1 Broadside, but we're at the point where really nothing can slip through the cracks. Down to 4. There's an Edict. That's very good. I think I just send in for 2 damage, though. It's very easy for me to accidentally die on the crackback to something like Brazen Borrower. I think I'm just going to present my opponent with the clock. Down to 1. No more fetching, no more Force of Wills. Clarion Conqueror goes to the yard. It stops the Broadside Fling ability, but it does not block the Broadside. And there's the concession. We'll go to another game. I dealt an exceptional amount of damage to myself in that one. Although, admittedly, 3 of that was Pinnacle Monk for fun to cast random encounter. I think I'm okay with Chalices sitting in the sideboard. Again, my opponent is pretty good at playing around it, just naturally with the Sheoldred's Edicts, the Bowmasters, the Clarion Conquerors, the Roiling Dragonstorms, all that sort of stuff. I'm thinking about just putting another Fiery Confluence into the deck, just doming my opponent. Seems solid. But I don't really know what I get rid of to get it, unless it is just a random encounter, which admittedly is kind of nuts when these games go long. We'll keep the fun card in. I am totally fine with this hand. I don't do anything on turn 1, but I get to just play a couple of good value-oriented cards. And I can play Pinnacle Monk as a tapped land here, I think. It technically keeps me from deading something in the short term. But I think I am playing this card as gone in this matchup almost exclusively, unless a Bowmaster is on the board and I have the One Ring. Prevailing is fine. Land drop 2, and opponent passes. Ooh, more Broadside. I'm just gonna do Fable first. The upside of it resolving is very, very high. Brainstorm, and it does resolve, which is fantastic for me. The treasure tokens are very good against things like Bowmasters that could be coming up when combined with Broadside. And otherwise, this just requires 2 separate removal spells once it's in play. Third land drop. Thoughtseize. That's pretty good here. I think the Dead Gone is the best card in my hand as this game goes long, but my opponent might not have the luxury of getting to take that. There's more movement, and then there's the Dragonstorm. Junking a Ponder. Ooh. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna loot through some land here. Put some things in graveyard to potentially grow. Pyrogoyf. Land drop. Show me a counterspell. There's the One Ring. Nice. Draw. Moonman. Can't play it this turn, but not too bad for the future. And I still have Dead Gone for Orcish Bowmasters or Murktide Regent. Opponent's at 14. Another UC. Clarion Conqueror. Yes. My opponent can bounce this. Now that goes away. I have 4/5 active mana. I think we're going to attempt Broadside here. Cool. That opens up a lot of mana for me and the One Ring. I'm going to go ahead and go to combat. Hopefully get to attack with this. I don't. That's fine. Send in with my Goblin Shaman token. Opponent knows that I have Dead Gone, so they should not block. And they don't. They'll go to 12. I don't get to draw with this. I don't get to use these treasures. I have 2 mana available. They'll just be passing the turn there. But next turn I have like Broadside plus Reflection, mana to cast Dead Gone. I just take a little bleed damage from the One Ring along the way. This is fine. I would prefer a Murktide Regent not enter play. There's the Murktide Regent that I don't want to see. And it's a 7/7, it's big. And Prismatic Ending. Yep, no, that was a great turn cycle for my opponent. So I will take some damage here. Do the One Ring thing. My opponent dead to double Broadside? Yes. Or no, this shuts off abilities of creatures too. I guess one problem at a time. So let's Gone, Clarion Conqueror back to hand to turn on all of this stuff. I think I'm all in. Draw cards with the One Ring. City of Traders. Play Broadside. Copy Broadside. Attack for 4. Opponents at 8. And have lethal. Seems good. Reflection. Target. Broadside. we got the G's from the opponent. Yeah, I know. Feels good. For me. Moon Stompy is, yeah, Menace. Is certainly not the best in the metagame right now. Because of things like Barrogoyfs, but damn, it has things like this that it is just capable of doing. So I throw the One Ring, and then I can throw anything else there to finish things off. Again, opponent's deck is pretty cool. This is a very neat brew. GG's. All right, I am on the play here. I have 3 mana. I don't have any acceleration. I think I can do better than this. I think most Ancient Tomb hands are going to be better than this one. And this one, I think, clearly is. I'll keep this, pitch 1 land. And I think I'm going to go Mountain Pass. Round 5, hopefully we get another random encounter off in this match. Mox Diamond makes Magus of the Moon significantly worse. Doesn't mean it'll be bad necessarily, but it does certainly make it worse. And luckily we're on the play. We get this Urza Saga before it ticks up. So, yeah. Now, long term, the thing that I need to worry about is my opponent tutoring up a Dark Depths and then removing Magus of the Moon. Or just naturally having Dark Depths. They can now tutor up Otawara, if they have it, and bounce Magus of the Moon out of play, and I eat a 20/20 and die. That was already going to be on the menu if they have Dark Depths plus Thespian Stage. Just happens sooner. So I need to find a new Magus of the Moon. Or alternatively, like, kill my opponent next turn. I'm just going to crash in. Don't think there's any flash blocker that I need to be playing around at single-colored mana. Once Upon a Time finds Tabernacle, which is a mountain right now. Expedition map. Or Talon Gates of Madara, which doesn't have that ability. It's a mountain. That did not do what you wanted it to do. I will loot 2. We did not find the safety Magus. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of 5 mana. Let's just Fable. Potentially want to loot next turn. Send it. Opponent's at 14. And died. Okay, cool. Not sure if we got lucky. Not sure if opponent does not have Otawara. Not sure if they thought this was going to do the thing and then become a mountain. But we win. So this is kind of an awkward matchup where my Blood Moons are simultaneously like the best and the worst thing in my deck. I'm going to be thinking about these 7 cards. I'm probably going to board Chalice of the Void out. I could Chalice of the Void on 0 on games where I am on the play. And it's probably correct to board out Random Encounter here. But I haven't cast that card enough this league, so, you know. Let's try to make it work. This is just turn 2, the One Ring. It's hard to say no to that. Mox Diamond. Discarding a Depths. We have Loam. We have Loam. So long term, my opponent has Depths plus Stage and the mana to activate it. Not the best for people named Phil. I will bash in for 2. And maybe I get some cooperative One Ring draws. Ooh. That's not good. Yeah, this game kind of went from bad to worse. Yikes. Do I even play this? I think I do. My opponent spends their entire turn life from the Loaming Wasteland, then I am not getting closer to dying to Merit Lage immediately. So that's multiple Wastelands there. Now they can skip a turn of Loam. Now need to like draw an Ancient Tomb or City of Traders to play Broadside. And then that can potentially outspeed my opponent's combo finish. Alright, so next turn they've got the thing. I missed on my land again. You have Punishing Fire? Twin Shot Sniper. You got it. Now, I can't draw Dead Gone. I won't have the mana to do it. Now I think I'm just fully dead. That'll do. Game 3. When I'm on the play, Chalice on 0 again is a thing. I don't think I want to mess around with Fairy Macabre for Loam. I think I'm just going to call this good. Yes. This is double Magus of the Moon. And I have a Dead Gone to bounce a Merit Lage if that happens. There's a Saga, a Mox Diamond, so I'm not going to be taking my opponent off of colors. And we will attempt Magus of the Moon. A new Mox Diamond, a new Urza Saga, Disruptor Flute. I imagine In the Dark goes on the One Ring. On Magus of the Moon, sure. That means that this one costs 6 plus 3. That's fine. So we will work on something that will give me extra mana and send in for 2. The sagas aren't ticking up. All of the sagas aren't ticking up. Now I get some looting. This is actually pretty tough. I'm going to get rid of this, and I think get rid of the land. The Illusion of Choice. Play this as a land, and I think I just have a kill next turn. Send it. Opponent goes to 12. I think I'm just going to throw a treasure. If I didn't have the Dead Gone in hand, I would be thinking about just throwing the Merit Lage there. Drop rotation. I'm going to die to Twin Shot Sniper for not playing the One Ring. And die to Otawara for not playing the One Ring. Okay. I thought I had more time there. And I did not. I am dead, unfortunately. And we end up just short of a positive finish there. GG. Alright. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Certainly capable of doing powerful things. I think this was a better way to approach random encounter than the sneak attack version that I started drafting up. We only resolved it once, unfortunately. Not for lack of trying. I believe it was worth 5 damage to face plus draw 2 when we resolved it. We cast it another time and got hit by Force of Negation, and I think that was it. So, low data collected, relatively speaking. At 6 mana, it's probably not what you should be doing in Legacy, but if you want to build a random encounter deck, I don't think this is all that bad. Maybe you can build this in a way where you're not a Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon deck, so that you can more consistently get to 6 mana, but then you run into problems with City of Traders disappearing instead. And the more ritual type mana you put in the deck, the fewer creatures you end up with, which was going to be one of the problems of something that looked like this in the first place. So for what it is, I will give it the thumbs up. Should you be random encountering? Probably not. But boy, it was fun. I wish we would have cast it more, but you know, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any thoughts about other ways to build the deck, throw them down in the comments below. Alrighty. See ya.